What's going on, friends? It's Anton Daniels, and I gotta have a conversation with you guys about Tiege Hanley because you see how the sun is hitting me. This is no finesse, no makeup, no filters, no none of that. This is 100% Tiege Hanley. I use it in the morning as soon as I get up, right after I pray and brush my teeth, jump in the shower, and I'm hitting the streets because you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So even though they're giving you 40% off your first order, 20% off for life, even though you may get a free gift, forget all that, right? Because we would do this even if it was full price because it's worth that much. I'm in the streets, I'm kicking it with people when I see Dusties everywhere. You don't want to be them. You want to separate yourself. And the way that you separate yourself is self-care. Ladies get it for the fellas. Fellas don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. I'm about to hit the streets right now and I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling great. I mean, I already got confidence, but to have that extra boost of confidence, knowing that you've taken care of yourself and you set yourself apart from all of the rest of the sheep that's walking around making bad decisions on a daily basis. And it's reflected in their actions. It's reflected in the products that they use. It's reflected in the people that they follow. And so if you're trying to level up, if you're trying to make sure that you look good, they're going to send you the pack. They're going to give you all of the instructions on how you're supposed to use it. Then make sure you get your Tiege Hanley. Again, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. Get your free gift. Make sure you tap in with your boy Anton Daniels because Unc is never going to lead you wrong. I would never have you use a product that I don't use myself. Again, they've been rocking with me for a long time. Make sure you get your Tiege Hanley. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you guys later. What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for tuning in for another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show. I am your host, Anton Daniels. What up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up? What up to all of my friends and family? I appreciate y'all for continuing to rock with me. Thank you. It is Thursday, April 17th, 2025, year of our Lord. And so we here, Friday Eve, no bag fumbling. What up to all of my friends and family in the chat? I see y'all on YouTube. Jody in the building, sister. What up, sister? I appreciate y'all. A little bit of housekeeping. First and foremost, we got after hours tonight, so that's going to absolutely be awesome. We're going to see all of our friends and family, including Q, Slimmy, Mika, Carrie, myself. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's going to be an awesome live stream. And then y'all know that Molly may have her clavicles out, so you definitely got to tune in for that. In addition to that, right, we got to make sure that we do a little bit of housekeeping on this front. For those of you that are on YouTube that's watching this, and shout out to all of my family over here on TikTok. For all of the people that's on YouTube that is in the chat, you know that you are my co-host for the day, right? I'm great, Trini Life. I'm great. What up, Osriel? Y'all my co-host for the day, so it should go without needing to explain, but I'm going to explain it for the people in the back because I know we got some Room 9 people in here. Sometimes some dusty watchers, and they trying to figure out how they can level up too, and so we're not an echo chamber. Okay, we do not limit conversation just because you may disagree with me, just because you may have a difference of opinion. We may talk a little bit about politics, real estate, everything, right? Trump, we do it every day. But just because you have a difference of opinion don't mean that you need to be disrespectful. Shout out to Quentin with the big 50 ball. Says he requesting PTO for the night. Denied. No, I'm just messing with you. We'll talk about it afterwards. But just because doesn't mean that you need to be disrespectful. So I encourage everybody to be respectful in the chat. And then you will get respect back. All right? So hit a like for the YouTube algorithm on your way in the door. In addition to that, last but not least, make sure you guys tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Do not ask me for the address of the meetup if you are not a bag chaser and you are not on the Patreon. All right? It is free for the Patreon members. Every single time that we meet up, they trying to get me to change the city from DC. That's why I'm kind of delaying that post, but I think I'm going to roll with DC anyway. We got to hit DC. It is the central location for the DMV. Got to let the people from Baltimore tap in. Got to let the people from DC to tap in. So we probably going to hit DC in January. But in addition to that, make sure you guys tap into the Patreon. And also, in addition to that, hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. All right, y'all ready to get started with the show? We got a lot to cover today. We're definitely going to cover the demonstrators and the protesters that got tased. All right, we're gonna deal with that. We're gonna deal with the Fed. Trump wants Jerome Powell out of office immediately. We're going to go into real estate today. I'm going to do a little bit of teaching on a surface level. We're going to get back to Harvard and the IRS wanting to remove their tax-exempt status. California is suing Trump, courtesy of Gavin Newsom, and so on and so forth. All right? So if y'all not ready to get started with the show, then you need to. Shout out to all of my truck drivers. Shout out to everybody that's working from home. Shout out to all of my people that are stay-at-home mothers. Shout out to the stay-at-home workers. Shout out to everybody that's in the office getting to it in corporate America. For those of you that work the night shift, just getting off and you need a quick ride home and somebody to keep you informed while at the same time keeping you entertained, I am here for your needs. So I appreciate you. I love you. You guys are the greatest audience on earth. And Tavin Ellis says, is that the closest you coming to the South? No. I get to Florida, different parts of Florida. I do meetups in Florida. I do meetups in Dallas. I do meetups in Houston. I do meetups everywhere. I think I need to tap into some locations outside of my normal locations. Maybe a little bit of Alabama, Arkansas, Idaho. I love Boise, Idaho. I need to tap into some of these other places too. Y'all ready? How about we get started with a little bit of prayer today? We've been forgetting to get started with prayer and then it go off the rails. Let's get started with prayer. Lord, bless us not to be victims. Bless us not to be victims, not to be so haughty thinking that we know everything, knowing that the only thing that we know is that there's less than $1,000 inside of our bank account for us to be able to be successful and solve for any emergency problem. Bless us to be focused. Focus. And as the weather change, bless us not to be bag fumblers, but to keep all money in, to make informed decisions so that we can capitalize off of what happens inside of this market. I love you. I appreciate you. I ask for everything in Jesus' name. Amen. Come to Charlotte. Somebody keep telling me to come to Raleigh. Charlotte? I'm not coming to the Bronx. We usually do New York City every single year. And we have a good time. We come to New York City every single year. All right, Ida B. Wells, you hear me, baby girl? And we going on tour. Bama in the house for sure, Huntsville to be exact. Y'all want me to come to Huntsville, Alabama? I'll think about it. All right, y'all, let's go ahead and get started with the show. Again, make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. What's up, Jerry? What up, Chris Cunningham? What up, Kay Cooper? What up, Trini Life? What up to all of my friends? Jennifer, I see you. Let's get it. All right, first things first. Demonstrators. So let me ask y'all this question. Is there a such thing as a peaceful demonstration? Is there a such thing as having people come to an event, respectfully disagree, maybe even voice their concerns amicably, and go about their way? The greatest tool that you have is your ability to vote. It's not your ability to demonstrate or protest. I know that they think that, and they think that that makes sense, and that's the thing that puts the battery inside of your back. I've seen people protest like idiots. I mean, seriously. And when I say like idiots, it's not that protesting is bad per se, but I've seen people get out there with their signs and protest and don't even vote. And it makes zero sense to me whatsoever. Zero sense to me whatsoever. And I'd be like, hey, man, why you out here with this sign and this heat and nothing is actually going to change? Because let's be clear, black people have been protesting my entire lifetime and ain't nothing been happening except for they ruining your own communities. And this time, I ain't talking about freedom riders and all of that, the people that was willing to die. I'm talking about in 2025, where we don't even like being in the cold because we's a tropical people. People will go outside and protest and will do no work on educating themselves on the millages, on the judges, on what is going on inside of your communities. They don't know anything about whoever it is that's going to be your alderman, your city council people. They don't know anything. They don't know anything down ballot. Down ballot, if it ain't the national election or who's going to run for governor, they don't know what anybody stand for, who's running on what platform. anything, but they quick to protest. Quick to protest. And somebody says, why can't you go to the Bronx on TikTok? The Bronx, we pick a safe location. And then the people in the Bronx and Queens and Harlem and Manhattan and all of the boroughs, they can come over in Philly. You can come through to Jersey. Shout out to Jersey. We pick a nice, safe location, and then with good security, and then we make sure that the people have the ability to come through. So that's generally how we play it over there. But and there's a lot of paid protesters. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the videos. This is Marjorie Taylor Greene. All right. So obviously, we know that I'm not going to say no names, but there's a lot of paid protesters that has been being exposed to. I plan on doing that as a part of my Friday show, but there's a lot of paid protesters out here. And then there's some that just got a battery in their back. And so they showed up to Marjorie Taylor Greene's town hall, and it didn't go the way that they thought that it was going to go, because I know a lot of places they allow for you to get away with a lot of things, but not this time, buddy.
Really?
Thank you. The Democrats have been rioting. They are the party of violence. They are the party that... Go. 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 If you want to sit and listen, you're welcome to listen. Everyone across the aisle.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you. All right. Okay. Be safe going home. We ignore the noise. There we go.
I think that white people are so cuddly and hilarious. I think that you guys, the white liberals and the black ones, we're not going to leave you out. We're going to definitely bring y'all to the front of the congregation also. I believe that the white liberals are so hilarious. Dude, white liberals are the most powerless people that I've ever seen in my entire life. I can't even believe. Come on, man, listen. Y'all want to have a real conversation, or you want to just get it to me on a surface level? I can't believe, personally, that my ancestors allowed for these guys' ancestors to keep them on the plantation. Let me say it again for the people in the back. I can't believe, because this is the weakest group of people that I've ever seen in my entire life. As a conservative, as a Republican that also understand history and the economics behind the slave trade, the Atlantic slave trade, I also know that black people owned slaves also, and they were some of the harshest slave owners. But for me personally, is no way in hell that if we didn't have some level of footage and documentation, that you would ever convince me that people from my lineage were actually enslaved by people from these people's lineage here in the United States of America. No way. No way. Is no way that you can ever convince me. Not even a little bit. You see how soft these people are? You see how cuddly they are? I know that their ancestors are rolling over in their grave and saying, my God, ain't no way in the world that my great, 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 great granddaughter and grandson are this week over in the United States of the Americas, and this is the thing that we have begat over into our country. No way. Susan, I know that they in hell rolling over like, this is what I went to hell for? No way ever. and y'all ask for freedom? But it ain't just them. It ain't just them. There's more.
Don't do this. Don't do this.
He grabbed me.
Yes. Don't do this. It's not working. It's not working.
What he doing there? I thought black people said they was sitting this one out. I thought black people said that they was line dancing. What is he doing there? What he doing there? Listen, I've been tased by better people in better places for less. Been tased by better people in better places. But what is he doing there? What you doing there? What you thought that you wasn't gonna get tased? If anybody was gonna get tased, it was you, big dog, and now you getting tased because you said something out of line? Oh, Jesus, Lord. Of all of the things that you can get tased for, hey fam, what you doing in here? Why your nose so bloody? Because I fell on my face. Well, how did you wind up falling on your face? Because I said something out of line at Major Retailer Green's town hall. I was standing up for liberal freedom. If you wind up going to jail or going to prison, and that's the thing that you say you in for, I think that they automatically gonna make you a bottom. I think that they're automatically going to make you a bottom. That just pisses people off. The weakness in your voice. So you stood up for men and women's bathrooms. You stood up for transgender rights. That's the reason that you was getting tased, big dog. Listen, man, I've been tased in worse places by better people for lower reasons than that, but ain't no way in the world. Ain't no way in the world that you're going to get me to say that I got tased because I talked out of line and I refused to get up and leave out of the town hall for Major Retailer Green. Of all the things that you can get in trouble for. Let's just get real. Let's just get real and let's just talk about it in real time.
No. Put your hands like
Now you on the ground. Now you shaking. Now you getting tased and people are applauding. Ain't no way in the world that I'm going to lose all of my bodily functions and I'm going to be out here shaking on the ground, shivering because I wanted to stand up for liberal freedom. Now you pissing on yourself. Now your wife beater is all disheveled and outside of your how the things are supposed to go. What were you thinking? You ain't got nobody in your inner circle, no wife, no kids, no good friends that said, hey, Glocktavius, we gonna sit this one out, big dog. We gonna sit this one out, Glocktavius. This is the business that you stood on?
don't move. Stop.
This is a peaceful town hall. Now, this is a peaceful town hall, ladies and gentlemen. This should not have to happen.
We seen him already. Let's go over to Miss Taylor Greene, and she was explaining exactly how she was not going to put up with the nonsense. This is her afterwards speaking to reporters and explaining exactly what was going on.
You know, we aren't going to be intimidated by funded Democrats that want to come in and scream and yell. A town hall is information for our constituents. And this is not a political rally, this is not a campaign rally. And town halls are extremely important. I'm glad they got thrown out. That's exactly what I wanted to see happen. And Democrats have protested in violent ways for years. Antifa, BLM, and many more violence against Tesla, firebombing Tesla dealerships,
Agreed.
killing Teslas, and we aren't going to tolerate it anymore. We're unapologetic about that.
Congresswoman, why did you choose to take the questions the way that you did, submitting them beforehand instead of taking them live for the audience?
Well, it's the way I've always done it. See, you guys haven't been to my town halls before. I've held many town halls throughout the years of being in Congress. And we always have people write down their questions. The problem is it's difficult to read everyone's handwriting. So normally they write down a question, they put them in a fishbowl for me, and I usually have to put on my reading glasses and read them. But it was much easier to have them type out their questions on the form when they signed up for the town hall.
Yeah. Thank you. Just wondering, when you saw the response and the fact that the police had to get involved, you didn't move. You were definitely stable up there, but what was your reaction just to seeing that all play out the way it did, especially in front of some of the people who came here to support you and wanted to hear your message?
My reaction is it shouldn't be that way. America overwhelmingly voted in November for President Trump, Republican control of the House and the Senate, and how people should handle their businesses in the voting booth. There's no reason for screaming,
said the same
yelling,
thing.
Ridiculous, outrageous protesting. That disrupts the entire event for every single person that is there. And you know, one of the most important things I do is offer constituent services. And that was exactly what I wanted to be able to promote and talk about tonight.
From a safety standpoint, you even mentioned the fact that you had to...
The biggest thing that you can do as an individual, and I'm not saying that you should forego your right to protest in the appropriate places, that you should forego your right to actually file for a peaceful protest, depending on wherever it is that you are. But the most important thing that you can do as an individual citizen of the United States of America that has the ability to vote is to show up to the polls and, more importantly, inform yourself of who you're going to vote for before you do it. But when you have such a low voter turnout rate in anything except for the national election, and even in the national election, you still have a low voter turnout rate, but then you want to get crunk and get buck all the way up at these situations or at these town halls just because you're trying to get a moment and you're trying to get on TV. It says to me either paid protester or fake outrage. It says to me fake protester or fake outrage. When I see people getting extra in places when they didn't even participate in the election process, but you want to get buck at these little town hall events knowing that you're going to get tased, it says to me fake outrage protester, fake protester, paid protester. I'm not going for it, bro.
Play secret for a little bit. The idea that there are so many people who had to have this increased police presence, does that leave you deterred at all when you know that there are people who are out there with all these thoughts about what they would want to do on these rallies?
No, I don't like that. But no, I'm not deterred. My job is a representative of the people that voted, my district. And I have to represent the entire district, and that means I have a job to do. And that job is extremely important. No, I'm not deterred. But I will tell you guys, and this is a story that I think is extremely important, I have the most death threats in Congress. And at times, I have more death threats than even Speaker Johnson. And it shouldn't be that way. And we just saw Governor Shapiro's mansion attacked with arson. It shouldn't be this way for any elected leader, no matter what political party they represent.
And I agree with that. And I say that definitively when I reviewed the story earlier this week on Monday of Josh Shapiro's home being torched and firebombed by these extremists. I don't agree with it on either side, regardless of whether you're Democrat or you're Republican. I think that we have to very much hold each other accountable and do not allow for the most extreme of us to represent us. And we need to hold each other accountable in that regard. I think that when you have a place where it's not an echo chamber, that's much different than getting somebody that physically put their hands on people, burning other people's property up, and getting death threats. When people say to me a lot of times, they say, Anton, would you ever run for something? And you guys said in the chat, shout out to the over 2,600 people that's already here on YouTube. When you guys say to me, Anton, would you ever run for office or would you ever do this? I take all of that in consideration. Like, why would I ever want to put myself in a position where half of the people in the place that I'm representing hate me just because of the political party and affiliation, and they don't take it in consideration? Because I know that people are too ignorant. People are not smart enough to actually look at the issues and have conversations based off of that. People spend more time focusing on what side of the aisle you on instead of whatever it is that you stand for from a policy perspective. So why would anybody in their right mind ever put themselves in a position to where they have to subject themselves to the most ignorant amongst us? I can't even convince people to do the best thing for themselves half the time when I'm talking to you on a live stream. It's people that subscribe here and they show up in this chat every single day. Every single day. And you know what they continue to do? Tune in, subscribe to the channel, type hard in the chat, and still be dusty. Still be dusty. They put their little headphones, they wired headphones in. They have their Android in their pocket. They listening to me. They pull it out every once in a while and they type some hate message. And it's in broken English in the same way that they type in regular life. And then they go back to mopping the floors. And then this other guy over here, he talking hard. He 42 years old. No wife, no kids, balding, all up here without shaving off the sides. He looking like Mr. Burns. No mustache, no beard. We thinking that this dude is a pedophile. He keep driving a rapist van. You know, the one with no windows, the Econolines. He driving that. And every day he go in and he get to his job and he go to Wendy's and then he may get a second job if he's feeling motivated for the summer when the kids is out because he want to hang out with the kids at the McDonald's. So he working at Wendy's at night because they stay open late night. McDonald's in the morning because he think that he getting to the bag. And then he keep on putting the fries in the bag. And every time that they tell him, hey, man, we want hot fries, he can't because he's so busy listening to me, typing hard in the chat and getting mad. Trust me, we all are familiar. I be trying to hold it together when I'm giving y'all these descriptions. But we are absolutely familiar with the extremes on both sides. Dog, put the fries in the bag. Stop typing before you get reprimanded, and then they put you back on lettuce. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's orders is messed up. Drive-thru is complaining. People ready to throw their hamburger with cheese back inside of the window because you so mad at me when you not focused, and I'm trying to level you up and help you to understand how you can do things differently. Dog, put the fries in the bag. The only person at Chick-fil-A that got a bad attitude. You know what your script is. You're supposed to say, my pleasure. No, he don't say my pleasure. Appreciate you, fam. Dog, that's not the script. You know, I want to do it my own way. They don't want to take our culture into consideration. They always trying to limit us from the way that we talk to our people. Every time I get in line, I just want to be treated like all of the rest of the customers. I want to be treated like all of the rest of the customers. Every time I get in line, you got to change the script. Yeah, that's what's up, black man. I play along because I know, okay, so he the diversity, equity, and inclusion hire. He think just because it's 98% white people here because we just so happen to be at this art show, right? We at the DIA, we at this museum or whatever. You the security guard. Instead of you just go ahead and checking my stuff in. What's up, black man? It's good to see one of us. I'm glad one of us is here. How many people in the chat before we move over to the next part of the show? Come on, man. Can we just have a conversation? How many people watching this have experienced a similar thing in that it's always the same and you almost dread it? You almost dread it because you don't even like shaking hands because you know that people ain't watching their hands in the bathroom. And every single time you go to an event, it could be majority Mexicans, it could be majority Asians, it could be majority white people, it could be whatever. You go to an event, you know, and you show up and you see that black guy and they start making that beeline to you. What's up? What's up, black man? Nice to see a good family here. Because you know, they always trying to keep us oppressed. Now they think they giving you preferential treatment. I just want to be regular. Listen, I'm here to come and look at art like everybody else. I'm here to look at art like everybody else. Please don't do it. Don't you do it. I see him. I start whispering. Yeah, here they come. Oh man, here we come. Power to the people. Gotta point you out. Gotta let everybody know you the only black person there. Yeah. Power to the people. To the front of the line. Dog, it's a 2.5 minute wait to get to the line. I could wait. I'm good. I don't have to go to the front of the line. I just want to stay and wait like everybody else. No. To the front of the line. Let's eliminate the extra 1.5 minutes it's gonna take you to walk. Power to the people. Yeah, black man. Power to the people. And you got a black wife, black man? You got you a chocolate sister? I know y'all Kamala Harris voters. And you don't want to get into no large conversation. Listen, it's not the time of the yeah. Power to the people. Kamala Harris. You got it. I ain't got time for this. I came here to watch some art. Jerry said, why are you like this? I'm just telling you the truth. If you have not experienced this, then please let me know. Somebody, all right. You want to take an unofficial poll? I'm not going to set it up on YouTube. We're going to do an unofficial poll. For all of the black people in the chat that has experienced this, put a 1 in the chat. There are over 3,000 people in this live stream right now on YouTube. For every last one of these black, if you're a black person and you've experienced this, put a 1 in the chat. If you're a black person and you've experienced any level of what I've just explained, put a 1 in the chat. You see all them ones? You see all of them ones? Every last one of us have experienced this. Look at this. You see all of them ones? I haven't seen this chat move that fast in a long time. Over 3,000 people in there. I'm telling you, it's probably at least 2,700 ones in there. Every black person I know didn't experience it. Don't nobody got time for that. Man, can you get my food? My food is cold, big dog. You see them ones in there? I put extra fries in your bag because you a black man. Thank you. As though I needed any more salt in my... I'm not even supposed to be eating fries. I'm sneaking in the line to come and get the fries that I'm getting. I don't need no extra fries. You get extra fries, black man. Put it in there with his bare hands. Get some extra salt on it. Give me extra cholesterol and diabetes, please. I'm not even supposed to be here. I told my girl that I was gonna come and go to the gas station to fill up the cars. I snuck over to Wendy's to get some fries, and now you trying to put some extra fries in my bag. Man, if you don't leave my fries alone, you know what? I don't even want I just throw the fries away. I ain't even supposed to be eating these anyway. Supposed to be on a diet. Extra cholesterol. I'm good, fam. Make sure... That's why even when I wear my Rolexes, I wear my Apple Watch on the other hand too, because I'm still trying to get my steps in. Got to document my steps to let my people know, yep, I'm still working. Still working out. Oh, Jesus. Lord. You know what? I think I might just go under the knife. Where's my phone at? Kim Kardashian did it. They ain't working out. You think that Kim Kardashian and Khloe Kardashian is working out? I'm rich. I don't have to deal with the same stuff that everybody else deal with. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let me go ahead and read these super chats so we can move on. First of all, I want to give a shout out to everybody on Cash App that looked out for your boy. I appreciate you holding me down. ESDC, Mike that dude. Shout out to Spencer Campbell. Shout out to everybody that's on Cash App. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. I'm gonna be reading those shortly. Shoot. Might go get me a what they call it, lipo? That junk cheap as hell now, right? Lipo? Y'all ain't never had, if you ain't never had no Biggie Frosty, you missing out, bro. I'm just telling you. That's a miss out moment. Quinn says requesting PTO. I shouldn't even be applauding this. You know what I'm saying? I should not be applauding this at all. David Williams says Anton say this evil. Ain't that how you say it? Did I get my syllables wrong? This evil? Correct me. Christopher Mayberry says Baylor basketball has to basically start over due to the entire team transferring. Do you think that the NIL is a problem in college sports? I said that the NIL was a problem immediately. I said that it was immediately a problem the minute that I seen it, but all of y'all are so short-sighted. No, man, let them get paid. Okay, cool. Head down, bag up TV says, not Mr. Burns. Yeah, dog, they be having that shadow looking like 27 going on 60 just because they don't know how to get their haircut right. Veronica, what up, Veronica? I appreciate you for the 2-ball. Rashonda Blackwell says, Miss Rita, please get your man. He done started. This is the Millionaire Derailment Show. Chase Barnes says, happy Thursday, AD and peeps. AD opening monologues are epic. To the newcomers, welcome to the Millionaire Morning Show. It is a one for me too. I have experienced it. I know. Whether you agree to it, whether you accepted the benefits or not, you know you agree to it. Heads down says sneaking to Wendy's for the extra cholesterol is diabolical. Mario said I start walking the other way. You be having my stomach hurting. Hey man, I'm telling y'all the truth. DJ Complex says raw scoop and fries with they bare hands. Uncut Underground says I agree. People should stop crying when Jews look out for each other too. Now listen. Here's the thing, Ty. Here's the thing. If you gonna look out for me in a way that's meaningful. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't just do it. Listen, because you put your job on the line. Because somebody is gonna report you if you're the security guard and you're letting people skip the line, and somebody's gonna get mad and they're gonna report you. Next thing you know, you're gonna get fired. Don't do something stupid for no reason. You know what I'm saying? 392Q says, and it's always at overly white establishments. They are never like that in the hood. Trying to put me up on the stage. Pierre says, AD, remember, you can't let Q Diddy look better than you this summer. No fake abs. Why not? Why not? No BBL, Anton. Oh my God. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. This is a fun show. It's Thursday. The weather is nice. I pulled out the Hellcat. Yes, I pulled out the Hellcat. I pulled out the Hellcat today. That mug got 390 miles on it. Somebody tell me in the chat, I know for the Corvette, you have to get past a certain threshold of miles before it fully unlocks. My daughter was saying that she thinks that it's 500 miles for the Hellcat too, for the Challenger Hellcat. And that if I get it past 500 miles and it's fully broke in and then it unlocks. Somebody let me know if I got to get it past 500 miles to unlock it. Y'all let me know inside of the chat. How many miles do I got to drive it? How many miles do I got to drive before I unlock the Hellcat, y'all? It's 500 to 1,000. DJ Ace. 500 miles. A lot of people saying 500. All right, so I'm trying to break in my car now that the weather is going because I didn't want no salt or snow on it, and so I'm trying to get it to 500 miles. As of right now, I think it's like 407. Like after I got to the studio, it's like 407. So shout out to everybody in the chat. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Let's continue. Let's continue to rock out. So we want to get to the business now. Jerome Powell, Trump and Jerome has been having a tumultuous relationship since the beginning of time. All right, so I want to get to the money. Trump is saying that this guy's removal can't come fast enough because he wants interest rates down. and it's already too late. So let's go ahead and dig into this story. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. I'm going to give you the short version, and I'm going to give you the long version. I wonder if I should give y'all the long version first. Let's go with this one. Let's get into this one and let's deep dive into it and let's see what's happening.
We do have breaking news this morning. I gotta say, it's breaking news that made the market sit up straight. President Trump, just a short time ago, declared on social media that the termination of Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, quote, cannot come fast enough. So these are the strongest words the president has said out loud or written out loud, floating the idea of dismissing the Fed chair. A move that's legally questionable, not clear he could fire him if he wanted to. The timing also crucial. It comes just after Powell very publicly warned that the Fed would be in a tough spot as the president's tariffs raised prices and weaken the economy. He says prices likely will go up. It will likely slow down economic growth, and consumers do bear the costs of these tariffs. Let's get right to CNN's Elena Treen at the White House for this much more public front and assault on Jerome Powell. Elena.
That's right. This is really, I think, a breaking point of their relationship, or really hitting a fever pitch, I should say, with what the president is saying this morning. Just to read a little bit of what he wrote. He wrote, quote, Jerome Powell of the Fed, who is always too late and wrong, he said in all caps, yesterday issued a report which was another and typical complete mess. He went on to say that Powell's termination could not come fast enough. Now, as you mentioned, John, this comes just a day after Jerome Powell spoke in Chicago yesterday and gave his starkest warning yet of the potential economic fallout of President Donald Trump's tariff policies. He said essentially that he believed tariffs would create a, quote, challenging scenario for the central bank, and really putting some of their two main goals, which is, of course, having stable inflation and also a healthy labor market at odds. Now, just to give you a step back and give you a little more insight into the relationship between the president and Jerome Powell, it's one that has always been tense and fraught going back years now. And the president has repeatedly, and not just in this term, but also in his first term, urged the Fed to cut rates. But we're seeing that even more so now, of course, because of the economic concerns regarding some of the president's trade policies and tariff policies. Now, one thing that is clear is that the Fed is supposed to operate independently of politics, something Powell reiterated yesterday. But we also know that the president has tried to issue an executive order to take more control over the central bank. And there's also concerns that perhaps the president could move to try and oust Jerome Powell before his term is up in May of 2026. All to say, we are seeing this fight really play out more publicly. I would anticipate this isn't the end of what we'll be hearing from the president regarding how Powell is running the Fed.
Yeah.
Let me ask y'all a question before I give my commentary and give you my thoughts. How many people actually agree with the job that Jerome Powell has been doing with the Fed, not just during this second administration of Trump's term, but all throughout Biden's term and previous before that? How many people are satisfied with the Fed? Now, I will tell you that you really can't operate independent of politics, because politics directly impact what we as consumers are doing on the ground. You can't operate. I'll give you an example. One of the reasons why the Fed raised rates during the Biden administration was because they were trying to tamp down inflation. Inflation that was directly caused by what was happening policy perspective, opening up our borders, what was happening with the housing crisis, the whole pandemic. And so because of the political spectrum and the things that was happening from the Democrat Party during while Biden was in office, it directly impacted the decision that the Fed was going to make in order to tamp down inflation. I don't know if any of you guys, everybody's saying Powell is a cuck, Powell is trash, he got to go. Some people ride on politics, says he's good with Powell. He has raised rates. Well, Noah's kind. Do you know why he raised rates? I'm not satisfied, says Jay Diggs. I like Anton because he's funny. The reason why they raised rates was because Biden's policies and the things that he was doing was exploding. It exploded when it came to inflation. And so they told you, they said, listen, over the next 3-4 years, it is going to get very, very bad. And basically they were letting you know that the next administration, whoever it was, whether it was going to be Kamala Harris, whether it was going to be Trump, they were going to have a big job trying to clean up the mess that was that took place over the last 4 years during Biden's term, right? And so they raised rates exponentially in order to lower inflation, which also caused economic pain, which is why everybody said that the cost of living was exploding. It was one of the only tools that they had. Now remember, in order to keep the economy humming, right, they lowered rates. They lowered rates, and that's what, okay, does everybody understand what raising and lowering rates do on a very basic level? Because I don't want anybody to be missing this. I want to have this conversation in full, and I want to make sure that we all understand exactly what's going on right now. Do you understand why high rates, low rates, the direct correlation to whatever the mortgage rates are, everybody complaining about mortgage rates? And it's okay if everybody don't understand. I can give you the cliff notes, the summaries. The federal, Jody says, fun fact, the Federal Reserve isn't a government agency, it's our central bank. Okay, I'm rolling with that, but here's the problem with that though. The Federal Reserve and our currency used to be backed by something. We actually had real materials that we used to justify the value of the dollar. But then over time, in order to solve for all of the issues that we had, they went and printed more money, which devalued the dollar. And basically it, in a summary, from a C student's perspective, it made your cost of living go up because your money didn't extend as far. That's why when you see people talking, they say, well, in the 80s or the 70s, a house only cost this, a house only cost that. You have to account for the value of the dollar, inflation over a period of time, right? They say that 2% or lower is actually good over a period of time, but your money doesn't go as long because the value of the dollar itself goes down, because as they continue to print more money and as the cost of living goes up, then that means that your buying power or your purchasing power isn't as strong. So now that's why they say when you go on a job, well, we need the raises that we're getting to keep up with the rate of inflation. Well, if inflation was exploding during the Biden administration, but we never caught up with the cost of living, because you would have to have some form of deflation to get it back in line with how much you was getting a raise on your job. If you was only getting a 2% raise, but inflation was at 10%, close to 10% during the Biden administration, that means what? That your buying power, your purchasing power went down. And then obviously we have to take into account our own individual lives. If you have debt, you got credit card debt, if you have interest rates, if you was buying a house after this whole raising of the rates, then the cost of doing business for you, which is basically the cost of borrowing money, went up. A lot of y'all got Afterpay, Klarna. A lot of y'all got debt. You went and financed some more cars. You went and did some stuff that you wasn't supposed to do. You took out some personal loans. Your personal cost of living went higher, right? And it also depended on where you lived in the country. The people over there in California that's getting overly taxed, they are catching it the worst. The people that's living over in the Midwest or the South, they have it a little bit better. If you head over to New York, it was a lot worse because the cost of doing business and living over there is exponentially high. So basically, when money is cheap, when interest rates goes down, that means that money is flowing throughout the economy because people want to borrow money to do business. When it's cheaper to do business, because the value of doing that business, if it costs me on a basic level, if a lot of people won't sell their homes because, a lot of people won't buy homes because the interest rates are significantly higher. If you have a mortgage, a fixed rate mortgage at around 3%, you don't want to sell your home even though you've outgrown the home or you want to move somewhere else, because you know you still have to finance another home. Now, if you was purchasing another home cash, with the difference in equity that you have on your property, that is what a lot of people in California did. That's why Californians move over to Texas, because it was much cheaper in Texas. Then they had to deal with the property taxes, which is something that we're going to talk about later on in the show. But their homes, the value of their homes, because the cost of living in California exploded. So all of the people that bought homes a long time ago, they sold their homes, especially considering that California was putting in a tax for people that the homes were valued above a certain amount. So people was trying to hurry up and get their homes sold. And then other people were trying to buy the homes at a specific rate because they knew that inflation was out of control when the Fed was warning that there was going to increase interest rates and everybody was working from home. They took the difference in the money and they went and bought homes cash over in Texas, and then they put that as a part of their retirement account. But what about the people that were stuck because they want to move, but they don't want a 6% interest rate because they already around 3%? So then they don't put their house on the market. Meanwhile, you still complaining about the cost of eggs, the cost of gas, the cost of living, the cost of having a credit card and trying to pay off the debt, interest rates, your student loans. Everything is affected because money is not as cheap anymore, which helps to tamp down inflation. But again, our dollar is not valued by anything other than the belief that we have in it and comparing it against other currencies, and also everybody else across the world using a dollar as a reserve currency. And that's how we start to figure out, hey, is he doing a good job? Is he not doing a good job? How is it integrated with politics? The tariffs is going on. The cost of living is going up. Well, people want lower interest rates so we can stimulate the economy and money is cheaper. That's how it ultimately works in our economy. So in a sense, they're saying, hey, listen, this is supposed to operate independent of politics, but that's impossible because everything we do is integrated with politics. That's why it's so important for you to vote.
It does not seem the president liked what Jerome Powell had to say yesterday. The president of the United States went directly after Fed Chair Jerome Powell, saying his termination cannot come fast enough.
A lot of people over in California are actually moving over to Las Vegas as their main residence, and they're keeping their residence, their temporary housing over in California. You know why they're doing that? Because there's no state taxes over in Las Vegas. And the cost of property is significantly cheaper than what they used to. And so it's a quick flight or a quick drive from Los Angeles over to Las Vegas. And so a lot of people are basically moving from California to Vegas to try to keep some semblance of normalcy as far as the weather and proximity to the place that they used to stand in, because they don't want to give up that Cali weather.
Our question to you this morning is a simple legal one, although I'm not sure there's a simple legal answer.
Is there ever?
Can the president terminate the Fed chair?
Well, the simple legal answer, John, is we don't know.
Good job,
sure.
Wonder.
If you look at the state of law as it exists at this moment here, as we sit in April 2025, the answer is no. And that's because of a U.S. Supreme Court case that goes back to 1935 called Humphrey's Executor, which says in these multi-member agencies, these independent agencies like the FTC, the SEC, and here the Fed, the president can only remove those members for cause, meaning if
Arizona and Vegas is significantly better than the prices over in California.
the person has done a horrible job, has been absent, that kind of thing. And so that would protect the Fed chair. However, there has been a growing movement by this administration and by prior administrations to challenge that law and to say that essentially, no, it's up to the president if he wants to fire these people, and there's no limitations on why he could fire them. And John, really important to note, if
Send it to
the
me,
president
Pat.
does fire Chairman Powell, there will be
Shout
a
out to
lawsuit.
everybody over
Obviously,
there.
the
I
stakes will
appreciate
be
y'all
very
for
high,
rocking out with me.
but that may not be the case that decides this, because there's another case involving the firing of other board members of other boards of the FTC and the National Merit Protection Board that's already up at the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has not decided yet whether they'll take it, but that one's way ahead of this potential case in terms of the procedure here. But the stakes here are huge. I think it's only a matter of time before one of these cases reaches the Supreme Court, and that'll tell us exactly how much power the president has to fire the Fed chair and other independent appointees within the executive branch.
I mean, I feel like we have to use Boasberg's words against you when it comes to saying that it hasn't been legally tested. I'm going to say none of their responses has been satisfactory. That is not a satisfactory response, Ellie. We need it to be cut and dry. Yes or no?
I wish I could give you a yes or no, Kate. It would be irresponsible for me. What I will say is, right now, the answer is no, we can't fire him, but that could change. How about that?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I was Jerome Powell, if I would want to stay in that with all of the pressure that Trump is putting on him. And I think that that's the thing that Trump is doing, is that he's putting more pressure on him by saying it out loud that he doesn't like him. He was saying it when he first got into office. He said it before he got into office that he wasn't rocking with Jerome Powell. So I'll stay on top of this and I'll keep you guys informed on what's going on as far as what's happening with the Fed. I do think that he should be dropping interest rates. And he's moving a little bit slow to do that because inflation is down. Inflation is down significantly. I believe inflation is at 2.4%. He should be dropping interest rates if inflation is down. You raise rates as a tool against inflation going up. And so if the inflation or the interest rates are supposed to be going down as a result of low inflation, then that means that money would be easier to borrow and then people can be able to move around a little bit more effectively and you'll have more money flowing inside of the United States of America. But that's just me personally. Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let me read some of these super chats and then we're going to continue to get on with the show. I'm glad that we're having fun at the same time debating and learning things that's meaningful. Listen, we shouldn't just only debate whether or not what's happening in relationships. We also need to be having conversations. This is the thing that I love. If people come in and they say, hey, Anton, I agree with you, or I don't agree with you. I like Jerome Powell. I don't like Jerome Powell. This is what I believe really caused inflation. Also, we need to make sure that we do that. I'm all for that. I think that that is really, really great debate. And that is really great discussion. And when you guys get engaged with that type of narrative, then I think that that's phenomenal. That's awesome. I'm glad that we're all on the same page here. Let me go ahead and read some of the super chats, and then we'll continue on with the show. Dre with the K in the building. Shout out to my dog Dre with the K. Says most of the time they'll just try to make eye contact and give you the head nod of approval. And they keep looking at you until you make eye contact. And if you turn away by mistake and they did it like this, they're going to do it again. Facts, Dre with the K. Glocktavius, you out for that, OG. Inflation is transitory. Shout out to you, Pierre. I appreciate you. Says the Fed always is too late to raise rates, too slow to cut. I agree. They should be able to see that ahead of time to know exactly what's going to happen, and then make the adjustment before they do. But they're always super reactive, as though they don't already understand what's going to happen. He needs to save jobs, then inflation. Big Trucks 419 says, just join the Bag Chasers. Thank you for consistently dropping jewels to keep folks from being dusty. Shout out to my Patreon members, my Bag Chasers. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. A white man named Jerome is questionable at best. Yeah, I think about that too. Jerome Powell? And it's this white man with white hair. Chris Cunningham says, you marry the house, date the rates. Shout out to Chris Cunningham. How was inflation Biden's fault if it was a global issue? Well, the global markets react to what's going on here in the United States of America. Does it not? Does it not? As we move, the rest of the world moves. 100%. Uncut Underground says, I believe Jerome Powell would have dropped interest rates if Trump stood on tariffs. The 10-year would have rolled over and he would have had a better choice. No, he knew what was going to happen on tariffs. If you don't think that Jerome Powell should have already factored that into consideration of what he was going to do, come on, man. That's why I say that it's not independent of politics at all. Trump has been saying exactly what he's going to do on tariffs for a long time. The Fed balance sheet has been doing QT since March 2023. They've self-printed money, $3.96 billion. Last week on TradingView, the chart is called WALCL. Shout out to you, Pierre. I appreciate you. Quarter Boy says, I have a 2.75% interest rate and I'm locked in. Yeah, you don't want to get rid of that. I still advise for people to pay it off. Some people say, oh, don't pay it off faster because you got a great interest rate. I still advise for people to pay it off. A white man named Jerome is crazy work. Maybe he got a black mama. Just a Brown Girl in America says, hey, Anton, good morning. Good morning, Just a Brown Girl in America. I love you. I like this girl. I like her. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and thank you to everybody that contributes into the platform. Tiege Hanley, thank you to Tiege Hanley for sponsoring what we got going on over here. 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. Ladies, get it for the fellas. Fellas, don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. Mr. Joe says, Governor Hot Mess Moore and Senator Chris Holland are advocating for the deported migrant to be released from his home country, El Salvador. Bitcoin Brown says, just saying, what up, AD? Can't wait to connect. What up to my dog, Bitcoin Brown? I appreciate you. And I got my dog, Mr. Lot, says, what up, though, Chasers? AD, any idea where the June meetup will be? I'm trying to plan accordingly. It's going to be in D.C. We going to D.C., big dog. We pulling up to D.C. for the June meetup. Shout out to my dog, Mr. Lot. It's going to be in D.C. I can't say it out loud publicly, but I will put the exact details of it inside of the Bag Chasers and the Patreon, and we going to go from there today. I'm supposed to go to a candlelight concert. Have y'all ever heard of them candlelight concerts before we move over into the next part of the show? A candlelight concert. I guess it's one of them concerts where it's like they got candles all over the stage and everything like that. I'm going, my daughter got it for me for my birthday, and so I'm supposed to be going with her. Y'all ever been to a candlelight concert? You got that Tiege pack? Raider, you so late. I talked about that yesterday. Yeah, my daughter got me the candlelight concert ticket. She said, Dad, we should go to this. And I said, absolutely. So I'm going to go to candlelight concert tonight. And then I'm going to jump right on after hours right after that. Never miss, all right? Said I'm going to like it. Very fun. Is it R&B? I never heard of it. Y'all never heard of the candlelight concert? No, it's like modern, right? Like I've even seen, I think Nas did one before. I think Ross might have did one. I don't know. I'm not sure if Nas or Ross did one before. I'm not sure. It'll be nice. Keep an open mind. No, I'm with it. Y'all did an R&B candlelight concert. Never been. It looks cool. All right. Yeah. So I'm going to go. I'll let y'all know in the morning. Or actually, I'll let y'all know tonight. Make sure y'all tap into after hours and we're going to talk about it. Anyways, let's continue on with the show. The IRS, I only want to spend 10 minutes on this one. The IRS is considering removing Harvard's tax-exempt status. So Trump warned about this. Trump said that, hey, listen, guys, if y'all don't want to comply, we're going to remove funding, and we're going to start scaling back all of the billions of dollars that we got allocated over to Harvard, and it's a private college anyway, because we shouldn't be giving all of our taxpayer dollars to you guys if you guys don't want to comply. And if you want to become indoctrination camps instead of higher education learning. And he also suggested that their tax-exempt status be removed. Now, it seems as though it is actually seemingly coming to fruition. Here's the latest of what's going on with Harvard, and they're trying to get other universities to join in their fight against Trump. But this is what's happening with Harvard and possibly losing their tax-exempt status.
The federal government says it's freezing billions of dollars in grants and contracts to Harvard. It comes after the university said it would defy the Trump administration's demands to limit activism on campus. Nearly $9 billion in federal funding is at stake, but the university is vowing not to surrender to what it's calling a government takeover. ABC News chief national correspondent Matt Gutman has the latest.
The Trump administration freezing more than $2 billion in federal grant money after Harvard University rejected a list of government demands, including overhauling hiring and admissions practices. Harvard, America's wealthiest university, not backing down in the face of pressure from President Trump, who is threatening to pull roughly $9 billion in federal aid unless the school makes a slew of changes to the way it's run. The administration ordering the school to report foreign students who commit conduct violations to federal authorities, submit to an audit to ensure academic departments have diverse viewpoints, and all DEI programs share hiring data with the administration, and submit to an audit of admissions data.
They say that Harvard has, I believe, a $59 billion endowment. Let me double check that just for the sake of conversation, because I want to make sure that we're presenting right information. I'm hearing that Harvard has a $59 billion endowment. Let me look that
The
up.
administration also calling for the correction of what it calls anti-Semitism on campus, an issue which Harvard says it has already taken steps to address. But in a scathing letter, the university's president blasting the administration for what he says is a violation of Harvard's First Amendment rights, writing, "No government, regardless of which party is in power, should dictate what private universities can teach, whom they can admit and hire, and which areas of study and inquiry they can pursue." This is hundreds of demonstrators gathered in Cambridge over the weekend, protesting the administration's arrests and detainments of international students.
What the university has said is, we're going to stand on our principle and our legal rights.
The school's defiance coming as President Trump squeezes Ivy League universities, some like New York's Columbia University.
All right, so let me pull this up for you guys. This is what I'm seeing on the intranet. Harvard University's endowment was valued at $53.2 billion in 2024, the largest endowment among U.S. universities. The endowment grew by $2.5 billion from the previous fiscal year, driven by a 9.6% return on investments. So basically, this is money that is invested that makes money for the university that continues to bolster what its finances look like. So that $53.2 billion, I'm assuming, is managed by and has a lot of things happening and playing out. Also on top of that, it says Harvard has a massive endowment, unlike many colleges. So Harvard is largely considered to be one of the richest universities in the United States of America. It says it is funded in part by an endowment. Harvard is. The endowment includes thousands of philanthropic gifts donated since Harvard's early history, many of which were given to support specific aspects of Harvard's teaching and research work. Together, these gifts, and this is obviously on Harvard's website, together these gifts form a permanent source of funding that connects scholars and learners from many diverse backgrounds with opportunities at Harvard now and into the future. The university's annual operating expenses in 2024 was $6.4 billion. This is a small city. 14,600 different funds make up Harvard's endowment. $749 million in granted in financial aid and scholarships in 2024. So the endowment helps the students to keep down tuition and gives grants and financial aid. 70% of the endowment's annual distribution is donor directed to specific programs, departments, and purposes. And $53.2 billion is a side of Harvard University's endowment in the 2024 fiscal year. So all of this information is directly on Harvard's website, as well as the annual financial report, just for the people that may be interested, so that we can speak in truth and we're not speaking in theory. So they have roughly $53 billion in endowment money.
Conceding to a list of demands after hundreds of millions of dollars in aid was paused.
Chief National Correspondent Matt Gutman, thank you so much. And I want to bring in EdTrust Senior Vice President Will Del Pilar for more. So how significant is it for Harvard to defy the Trump administration on this?
I mean, I think it's a huge step. I would say nationally, you didn't see anyone standing up to this administration. What we saw were associations come forward and issue or engage in legal challenges to some of the demands that the administration was making, but we didn't see a single institution stand up for their rights and for their independence and for their academic freedoms. And so I think nationally, this is a huge step to see an institution with the wherewithal and resources to stand up and fight back. I think it's a huge step.
I mean, more than $2 billion in federal funding is now frozen. There's $9 billion on the line here. President Trump is calling for Harvard to lose their tax-exempt status. So what would losing this money actually mean for Harvard?
I mean, I think in the long run, it would have an impact on the institution. But this is an institution with an endowment that's worth billions of dollars. And so given the size of the endowment, I think that Harvard putting their stake in the sand at this point, I think it comes with some financial risk to them. but I do think that they're one of the few institutions in the United States that could stand up and has the resources to combat the federal government and the administration.
Harvard's not the only one that gets criticized on this, but a lot of US higher education institutions, actually it goes for lots of parts of Europe as well, get criticized. They've not got enough conservatives on campus. They're too left-leaning. I mean, is that a fair argument?
I'd love to see evidence on this. I think that, we're claiming this based on
What? Did you just hear what he said? Wait. You need evidence that our institutions and universities, especially the ones that are in the most liberal places in the United States of America, are more left-leaning than it is right-leaning, and they don't promote diversity of thought. They actually limit the amount of conservative views that are on campus, especially outwardly. What? Come on, now we just being disingenuous, family.
Position, and has anyone taken a poll of folks' political leanings on college campuses? I would guess not, but I would say that in my opinion, we know that the faculty tend to be a bit more liberal in terms of their political leanings, but in terms of students, there is no evidence that shows that college students.
A lot of times for teachers, listen, when you go to school to be a teacher, a lot of times, and I'm just going to be absolutely honest with you, those are people that could not hack it in the real world. I believe that most of our teachers need to come from spaces where people actually can use real life, especially when you're talking about on the university level. I think that they need to come from spaces where people were able to actually really able to give you real life experiences. Man, look, the things that I've learned, and I am a college educated man 100%. The things that I've learned personally, and obviously I've never been to Harvard, but I'm just speaking of universities in general. The things that I've learned in the real world, a real world business education by failing. And I'll tell you right now that the people in the Patreon get 10 times better of an education based off of the real life explanations and me showing the numbers and you giving you the receipts and helping you to understand it. Most of the things that you see inside of these universities are being preached as theory. They say it's a fact, but it's really theory, right? Most of the places. Now, I'm not saying at Harvard Business School or the Raw School of Business over at the University of Michigan is not awesome. Those are exceptions, right? And those a lot of times are taught by people that have been successful in the business world. However, I will tell you that the majority of what you learn, both in high school and in college, is all based off of theory because it's coming from people that have never actually done anything in their life. I'd even respect you if you did it and failed, but you can give me the learned experience in addition to whatever it is that they teach you inside of the book. But it's not the same as putting your own money up and doing it in real life. It's not the same as putting your own money up and doing it in real life. They have no real, a lot of these teachers have no real understanding of what it takes to actually build the business or to be successful when it comes to certain engineering fields and all of this other stuff. Now, they may be able to give you more insight with regard to being a physician or going into a doctor's program or something like that because I haven't experienced that. I can't speak to that. I can speak to what I've seen, heard, seeing being communicated and experienced in my own real life and have it as a comparison to what I've learned at major universities. I could have taught the class from some of the elementary stuff that they was talking about. Somebody said, how is high school coming from theory? Well, all right, let me break it down like this. In my high school, which I went to a school that was considered one of the better high schools, you have to maintain a certain GPA. You had to test to get into it. You had to maintain a certain GPA, and it was one of the more esteemed schools inside of Metro Detroit, Cass Technical High School. We had specific curriculums that directed you to do certain things depending on whatever it is that you got into, right? And I've also seen and witnessed, and I speak in high schools, right? I have gone and spoke in plenty of schools throughout the Metro Detroit area, both in the inner city and outside of it. And in the school that I went to in particular, we had specific, computer science. You can specialize in that. You can specialize in business. You can specialize in architecture. I went and specialized in architecture. I took drafting classes. I took all kind of classes that basically prepared me and also gave me college credit before I ever even got into college. And if you go and you evaluate the background of the people that's teaching it or people that are getting degrees so that they can teach, they're not actually experiencing real world situations to where you have to adjust and adapt and see what's going on in this and that, so on and so forth. They don't get to give you that real life knowledge. Now, you may have went to a high school where maybe it was just surface level, base level, or whatever. I went to a high school that specialized in certain things. Nope, not king over cast over king. Now, I went to a high school that specialized. And more importantly, in the high schools that I speak at, or I go and teach at, or I go and have conversations because I have friends that say, Anton, I want you to come and speak to these boys. They are not teaching them real life experience. Have you ever took a debate class inside of college or inside of high school, for example? Have you ever been on Rate Your Professor before you took a class in college? I'm telling you, this is a lot of times why they even say, hey, we need more men teaching, or we need more people that come in and do this. If I was a teacher, I would have a program personally to where I basically tapped into my network and my friends to come in and speak at different portions of the school year that was tied in with the curriculum that actually gave you a real life worldview experience to where you could see what was going on in the field, and you would be graded by how you adapted and adjusted and what you learned, not necessarily based off of whether or not you can pass a test. That's how I would groom my students for success in the real world. I would teach them how to think their way through it, not necessarily just give them theory or give them a test to pass and say, can you memorize this? I would 100% change my curriculum to be reflective of how well you participated. Whether or not it wouldn't be a failure based off of whether or not you got the answer right. It would be a pass or a fail whether or not you made the adjustment or you then, applied or you participated in all of these things. And I think that would yield phenomenal results. We would actually prepare our children to be financially savvy, to understand. Most people that get into college, that get into a lot of these regular colleges, they can't even think their way out of a wet paper bag. They are not prepared. They are not prepared. I'm telling you that they're not prepared. And the reason, your car, that they got this standardized testing, and I don't know if they're going to lose their tax-exempt status or not. The reason that they got this standardized testing is because it's the only way that they can use from the Department of Education to justify whether or not they send in so many funds. Because everything is black and white with the state. Anyways, make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. They have removed debate classes or groups and from most high schools now. Oh, I attended a magnet high school for business. Nice, Tanya. Somebody said, what am I talking about? Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? You mean, what am I talking about? You don't understand what I'm saying? You don't get that we have to actually have applied theory, that we have to give people real life experiences for them to actually go out and see it for themselves, to ask them, hey, what would you do in this scenario? And there is no right or wrong answer. How would you adjust for this circumstance? What happens when this happened? Hey, listen, this is what really happens when you build in a house. This is what really happens when you start to apply it. When you in the UX UI field, these are what employers are asking for. And so listen, UX UI can be applied to anything that you do in your real life. If you go into a restaurant, the flow of traffic, they're UX UI in it. And that's now how we start to apply that to the things that we design on our applications, on these screens and on these phones and these devices. The reason that they move all of the buttons on Instagram down instead of keeping it as a hamburger menu is because of how you hold your hand and how you hold it in your hand. It's not just about whether or not you can program. You don't understand what I'm saying? real life application. People that has done it are better suited to teach it in a classroom, because if you care about the students, you'll actually be able to understand how they can apply this theory. Whatever these things are that they thinking. Jesus Christ, bro. Sorry, y'all. Sorry. Sometimes I get frustrated because I be trying to understand what people be thinking, bro. Like I'm trying to get it to you. Wake up. Man, all I understand is DMP. Man, where the YN's at? I'd rather hang on the corner. I know. I'm going to get you there. Just stick around, big dog. Jesus. Marka J says they financing Coachella tickets at 6%. Oh, my God. You got to be kidding me. No way. No way. You kidding me, Jay. Jay, you telling me the truth, or you playing with me? Jay, don't tell me that, big dog. Abundance Mindset says, big dog, I appreciate the work that you put in to get us this fire content. I began watching to be able to have educated conversations with my wife. Now I'm having well-informed dialogues with the folks on both sides of the wing. I like that. You're welcome, Abundance. And thank you for letting me know, because a lot of people, they just be quiet and they don't say nothing. They don't want to give you your props. Hey, they just expect for you to just come in and cook up every single day, and they think they doing you a favor by them learning. Sometimes it does feel good to get an appreciation, so thank you. And shout out to all of the over 3,600 people in here on YouTube. All Harvard has to do is to stop taking the federal money. They need that money, bro. MJ Merriweather says, Harvard, keyword private, then use your own money. Gordon says, all Harvard has to do is stop taking the federal money. Purple Haze says, haven't been, but I will be going. I'll send you the link when they do various themed concerts, from hip hop to tribute to certain artists like Whitney Houston. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm with that. Good day, Mr. AD. I agree with the expression, those who can do, those who can't teach. Yeah, so you familiar with it, sister. You familiar. Papanea Shelley says, MIT is an indoctrination camp. My kid graduated, came out as they, them. She wasn't raised like that. Oh, man. Pop, I'm sad about that. I think that they'll grow out of it. If you put it in them early, they'll work their way through it. Pierre says, my economic Twitter guy says Trump has a deal with China. Would fact check, though. I'm going to wait till something is officially announced. I'm going to make some phone calls after I get off the show. Some kids will have a degree from these colleges, but still won't understand that you can't put water on a grease fire. Chris Cunningham says, AD, you have a C student. AD, you have C students, and you have nine. You a C student? I don't understand. AD, you have C student, and you have 9 students. Oh, I know what you're saying. AD, you have C students, and then you have room 9 students. I got you. See, I use my context clues on that one. Chris Cunningham. You see how I got through that? I appreciate you, though, big dog. I appreciate you. Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Gavin Newsom. So yesterday, I did announce this on the Anton Daniels channel. I try to limit certain things that I talk about so that I can save it, so that I can add more context to the Millionaire Morning Show. But Gavin Newsom yesterday actually sued Trump's over tariffs from California, and then he provided his explanation. I want to play that in full for you guys. If you would allow for me to do so, make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. So this is Big Gav right after begging for federal money when Trump first became elected, and he got off the plane and he was jocking Trump. Big Gavin Newsom, who has a let me see something. What was the deficit? California budget deficit. The city of Los Angeles has a $1 billion budget deficit. California is facing an estimated $73 billion budget deficit. Let me say that again. Originally, it was a $68 billion budget deficit for the 24-25 year that has been adjusted upwards of about $4 billion more dollars. California, before Trump even got into office, and I want to make sure that I say this before he jump on his podium and start saying all of the crazy stuff that he's going to say. California is facing a $73 billion budget deficit before Trump even took office. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. This is Gavin Newsom speaking specifically about Trump's tariffs and how he's going to sue the Trump, or how they're suing the Trump administration over the tariffs and why.
Thank you all for being here and taking the trip. I want to thank Christine and Chris for having us and hosting us, and thank you, Chris, for your stewardship and leadership and willingness to be here and step up at this critical moment. Look, I think the Attorney General did an exceptional job in laying out the framework of this lawsuit and the why as it relates to the particular issues under the IEEPA, and notably issues that have been brought to the fore as it relates to the major questions doctrine recently by the Supreme Court. I would just highlight just two of the specific examples the Supreme Court used as it relates to the major questions doctrine on the issue of student loans under the Biden administration, on the Clean Power Plan under the Obama administration. If they are consistent, then this lawsuit is a lock in terms of what the Attorney General has laid out and what this state is asserting. But I want to tell you what our state of mind is as it relates to the issues that impact the state of California, obviously the state of our union, and the state of the economy more globally. We talk often about California being the fifth largest economy in the world. That is correct. We're also the largest manufacturing state in the United States of America, $412 billion output. And I want to put that in perspective. Texas is 41% smaller. It's a 41% larger share of manufacturing output just here in the great state of California. It puts in perspective something that often isn't communicated, I think, as effectively as it should be. By the way, the United States is the second largest manufacturer in the world, which is also something that I think is important to highlight. So the manufacturing footprint in this state is disproportionately impacted by the tariffs, disproportionate to any other state in the nation. Of course, we talk about the fifth largest economy in the world. Let's put that in perspective. We're 14% of the U.S. GDP. That is 50% higher than the next state. No other state will be more impacted by the impacts of this, as Christine said, uncertainty that is best described as toxic uncertainty because of these tariffs. Let me underscore that with more consideration and context to where we are. We are also the largest hunting, fishing, agriculture, and forestry state in this nation, 150% larger than the next state, Texas. When folks talk to us about the impacts, regional impacts of rural economies, you're talking about California. You're not just talking about the Midwest and places like Texas. You're talking about our state, the state of California. Almonds you see around us, export dependent. Pistachios, export dependent. Dairy, export dependent. In fact, 43% of almonds and pistachios and dairy are export dependent.
I agree, Azriel. I think that the bigger issue, right, because a lot of what is happening in California is that there's this mass exodus of people that are leaving the state. Now, I will say that there are a lot of people that are actually moving back to California because other reasons. They're willing to pay the high taxes because, hey, they just can't take the cold. Or, man, I just want to be on the beach. And I think that that's okay. Listen, if you want to move back to California, and I think that all Californians, especially the ones that are super liberal, should move back to California, and you're willing to stomach the higher cost of living and the housing and the homelessness and the crime and all of this stuff for better weather, I'm all for it. I have no problem whatsoever. I've seen a lot of people complaining that were originally from California. And it was like, listen, I know our state is messed up, but it's one thing about just being able to have the weather year round not be messed up. And they're willing to pay that extra tariff as a result of that, because that's all California is doing is tariffing people. Absolutely. But there is more people leaving on a regular basis and more businesses leaving California than is staying in California. And that is the bigger issue that Gavin Newsom does not want to address, because I think that it makes him look bad for whatever his political future is or his political aspirations are in the future. So he won't tell you that. He won't have a conversation about how California has a $73 billion budget deficit before Trump ever even took office. Sam, you all right over there? Says Anton looking all almondy. You all right over there, Sam? That's the Tiege Hanley. 40% off your first order plus 20% off for life. I don't know how to feel about that. Hopefully it's Samantha, not Samuel. Hopefully it's Samantha and not Samuel. All right? I'm going to assume that it's Samantha because it's a pink S. Now, if it's a Samantha and I'm looking all almondy, then I'm melting your mouth, not in your hands. But if it's Samuel, man, if you don't get your sassy butt from behind me, which one is it? Is it all right? Before we continue this, is it Samuel or is it Samantha? I need to know. Because if it's Samantha, I'm going on tour this summer. But if it's Samuel, we got some problems, big dog. All right, you might have to get a timeout. Don't block him. He might just have to get a timeout. Let me know.
In the state of California, few industries will be hammered more than the toxic uncertainty of these Trump tariffs. The impacts, what more evidence do you need? Check your 401k. Check your portfolio. If it includes NVIDIA,
Thank you,
should
Rhonda.
check it right now. NVIDIA, the great California company, one highlighted by this same Trump administration over the course of the last 24 to 48 hours, just got hit today with a $5.5 billion charge. Great California company got hit with a $5.5 billion charge, sending the markets to tumble yet again today. NASDAQ down over 2% as I speak. The uncertainty is pronounced and it is profound in the state of California. Consider just the imports coming from Mexico, Canada, and China. 44% of all of the imports into the state of California alone come from just those three countries, $197.3 billion in 2023. The impacts of these tariffs, particularly on those three countries, disproportionately impact the state of California. Across the spectrum, the impacts are off the charts. We talk about regional disparities. The impact in counties like this, counties like Kern, rural parts of the state will be outsized. It's not just the coast and technology. Think about the impacts already in the mega region
Talk crazy
of
in the
Baja
chat.
and San Diego. Chris, you were talking about the integration of supply chains and a deeper appreciation and understanding that decades and decades forming a relationship, building trust, manufacturing, one side of the border, assembling on the other side of the border. You think about the impacts, the automobile industry, electronics, aerospace, in our state alone, disproportionate impacts. So California, why California? Well, that's why. No state is poised to lose more than the state of California.
I wonder if y'all would actually vote for Gavin Newsom again if it wasn't term limits in California. I don't know what it is, P. Shank. I wonder if y'all would actually vote Gavin Newsom in for another term if it wasn't term limits over in California. Man, he has truly, and I'm not saying that the governors before him wasn't just as bad, but Gavin Newsom has truly ran y'all state into the ground. I cannot think of a worse governor than Gavin Newsom. And now he's trying to basically waste taxpayer dollars in court, suing the Trump administration, as though that is going to make any difference whatsoever. And they're making and holding press conferences so that he can try to make himself look good so he can set himself up for a presidential run in 2028. He's deflecting from the real issues that's happening inside of his state. And he's been running his state into the ground since he got into office. They spent over $28 billion, allegedly, on homelessness and didn't even put a dent in it. Where did all of the money go and where did all of the resources go in California? Where did all of the money and the resources go over in California?
So that's our state of mind. And that's why we're asserting ourselves on behalf of 40 million Americans. And I imagine if you caucus those 40 million Americans, you'd find few, I don't care where they were in the last election, that are celebrating this uncertainty, that are celebrating the largest tax increase.
So Trump, again, has been in the office, or I'm sorry, not even been in office. It hasn't even been 100 days. I believe it's like 84, 85 days or something like that. And he's had tariffs on for 2 weeks. 2 weeks. And they're blaming Trump for what it is that's happening in California versus what was happening before Trump even got in office?
In modern U.S. history. In essence, a sales tax. In essence, a sales tax. A regressive sales tax that hurts working folks. That hurts poor folks. That hurts hardworking folks.
He trying to,
like Christine and those that Chris represents.
What did I tell y'all yesterday about how they try to use examples to illustrate a point of personas? He's really trying to sound presidential right now. He's really trying to sound presidential.
Proportionately. This is recklessness at another level. The geopolitical impacts are outsized. The trade impacts are outsized, not just the economic. That's why we were up in Canada making a case anew to try to encourage Canadians. What the hell do we have on the Canadians? Mocking people in another country, one of our great partners? Talking about being a 51st state? The fact that we had to invest in advertising up in Canada and encourage people to come to the great state of California, where 2 million Canadians visited last year, is a sign of the times, a testament to the moment we're living in. We're 2,000 miles away from Washington, D.C. We're a world away from the values that are emanating out of the White House. Again, that's why we're here. That's why we are asserting ourselves. I can't imagine anything more unifying for a state at this moment than stepping up as we're stepping up here today on this critical issue. So I just, again, want to thank the Attorney General.
So, again, this is your taxpayer dollars at work. This is California Governor Gavin Newsom, who is on his way out and is going to be probably making his bid for President of the United States of America in 2028. Going the same way as Harvard. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let me read some of these super chats, and then we're going to get into real estate. My favorite subject to talk about, real estate. Shout out to Trini Life. I appreciate you for the super sticker. Thank you for the 3-ball, big dog. Called you as Almond Brown. Says Pierre. Brandon Nicholson says he got it from Martin's show. I know where he got it from. Charles Halbert says last night old girl said that Kyle Rittenhouse killed 2 black kids. Kyle killed 2 white liberals that tried to kill him. One had a gun and a felony. Yeah, I wasn't familiar with the case, but I'm sure that the chat was going to catch it. P. Shank says, hey, Anton, is it Sam or Samantha? I don't know. I'm trying to find out. Joshua Smith says Newsom has no moral compass. Walk around downtown San Francisco or Sacramento and see where this type of leader will take us. This ain't it, man. I know it's bad out there. I've been out there. David Yeti says, looking forward to the DC meetup. Went to bed last night thinking, I got to get to 500,000. I don't want my girl to be on the wrong side of the tour. Better hold on. Hold on. In the words of In Vogue, hold on. Abe the Hunter says, the nerve of this guy. He has the worst state. Thank you, Abe the Hunter. Thank you to everybody that continues to hold us down. I want to get into the real estate game. So these next couple of segments are going to speak on it from both a commentary perspective and then also from an individual that is speaking about why her mortgage is jumping so much. And so I'm going to break it down and speak on these subjects. But first, let me go ahead and say, make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Let's get into the housing market. So ARM loans are skyrocketing and the market seems to be on fire. All right. ARM loans are skyrocketing and they're saying that the market seems to be on fire. Let's get into it, y'all.
The housing market is flashing red. Adjustable rate mortgages, the kind that helped blow up the economy in 2008, are now being used at the highest rate in over 2 years. Why? Well, mortgage rates just spiked again, up 20 basis points in a week. New single-family homes for sale in the U.S. surging to 500,000 in February, reaching the highest since November of 2007. But even with more homes for sale, buyers are pulling back. Spring is supposed to be real estate's boom season, but Anthony Pompliano, you say that we have a crisis on our hands. We need to treat it like one. What do you think the path forward is?
There's 4 data points that really show this. The median asking home price is up 6% to $424,000. That's $50,000 increase since the start of the year. The median sale price in America is up 3% to $383,000. But I think even more importantly, the typical home buyer monthly mortgage payment is up 5% year over year to $2,800 per month. And so if you think about those numbers, basically what you have is you have homes becoming more expensive. You have debt becoming more expensive. We're not building enough homes. And so naturally you have this squeeze that's occurring. But people also forget at that same time you have real wages falling. And
I don't think at all, not even a little bit, that it's the building of the homes, the building of the homes, building of the homes, building of the homes. I don't think it has anything to do with the building of the homes. You have millions and millions of homes available for sale. We don't need to build an exponentially a lot more homes. That is not the issue. Also, the main thing that tanked, because a lot of y'all wasn't outside during 2008. I just so happened to be a fully grown adult during 2008 that was affected heavily in Detroit, Michigan. I own more land than your whole family lineage, big dog. Absolutely, I do. It is not the building of homes. There are plenty of homes for sale. All right. The thing that helped tank the 2008 crisis is that they were approving people in order to get enormous fees and make a significant amount of money on the banking side, so much so that they started bribing government agencies to overlook whether or not they were doing things the right way or not. And they had a subprime mortgage lending crisis. That is the first thing. Subprime, meaning that people that really didn't qualify for the homes was getting qualified for the homes. And they were able to buy the homes without any job, any mortgage, any money down or anything like that. And so they jumped in head first and the banks was happy to give you anything that you wanted because they was making an exorbitant amount of fees on top of it. This is when we came up with the whole term that the banks was too big to fail, because we couldn't lean back on anything like China as far as their manufacturing capacity because we didn't make much here in the United States of America. And the industry was largely a consumer purchasing type of industry. That's why they started giving out stimulus checks and having cash for clunkers and all of those Obama programs. And they had to bail out all of these companies and stuff. But the fact of the matter is we had a subprime mortgage loan crisis. And also people were getting any types of loans that they could just to say that they owned a home. And one of those types of loans that they were getting was called an adjustable rate mortgage. That means that the mortgage rate that you're paying adjusts according to whatever the interest rates is going on inside of the United States of America. Your mortgage can go up significantly and it can go down significantly. Anybody that is getting an adjustable rate mortgage, what the heck are you doing? They did. They approved way too many people. Building houses people can't afford is the equivalent of subscribing to an OF page. That's one way to put it. I know a few people that got ARM loans, and when that payment came knocking, they went to moving. Yeah, a lot of people like to justify it as, well, I'm not only going to I'm only going to be here this amount of time, or I'm going to refinance once I get some equity in a home, or I'm going to get this, whatever. A lot of people, I'm going to be honest with you, are just desperate to say that they are homeowners. People can't wait to say that they are homeowners. If you peek behind the curtain, I'm going to put 3.5% down. Wait a minute. So you're going to put 3.5% down, and you're getting a bad mortgage deal, and you got a high interest deal, and you got to do PMI, which is private mortgage insurance, that basically is insurance against you defaulting because you're a higher risk buyer. Let me put you in the mind of the bank. The bank makes money off of lending it to you, all right? Meaning that they have to give out the money. They're trying to find, the bank's job is to find as many qualified buyers as possible. Keyword qualified. They want to lend you money. They have to lend you money. That is the way that they make money. They make money off the interest. They make money off of the service fees of the loans. They make money all across the board, rebuying, taking it back, resending it out to the people. The banks want to lend money. That is their business model. The main way that they make money is from the interest payments that you make on the loan. So when you go and pay your 30-year mortgage, or when you go and pay your adjustable rate mortgage, when you go pay your credit card or whatever, they make money off of the interest. If you look at your statement, it says this amount going to interest, this is amount going to principal. The bank don't want to be in the ownership game. The ownership game is for the people that actually want to resell the houses. The ownership game is for the people that actually want to hold on to the asset. The bank don't want the asset. The bank want to use the asset as collateral that you're going to pay the loan. That's why you don't have to get private mortgage insurance if you put more than 20% down. Because they know that you're less likely to default if you actually have equity into the home. Banks don't mind loaning you for supercars or hypercars if you can come up with the amount of money. If you can show that you have a decent credit score, which basically is your ability to pay it back on time. Number two is, you have to show that you have the income, the ability to be able to pay it back. Which a lot of that, they don't even tell you to pull out your back in the day, they used to make you show check stubs. They don't really make you do that no more if you're getting a loan for a certain amount of money. It really don't even matter how much you ask for. Because if you can come up with 20%, right? Let's say you buying a supercar. For those of y'all that like to finance everything, let's say you buying a supercar and you put 20% down. Let's say that you're getting a $400,000, let's say $400,000 car, right? You get a $400,000 car, you putting 20% down. That means you got to come up with $80,000 in cash. You got to get 1/5 of the purchase price. And you got a good credit score, which means that you've showed and demonstrated your ability to pay it back. And you coming up with $80,000, they'll give you money all day long. Here, take it. You know why? Because the actual car, which is not going to go down significantly in value, is the collateral. They know that if that car come back to them, which you're less likely to let that car go back to them because you already got $80,000 in it, especially if it's holding its value, they know that you're going to pay that car. More importantly, they have collateral to where they can come and get that car and sell it at a bigger profit to recoup some of their investment if you decide to default on the loan. You're more likely to try to find a buyer to get rid of it and all of this stuff, but you putting that $80,000 down, then they can take the payment on whatever the interest is that you're paying for that car. Same thing with the house. If you're putting 20% down on the house, you're going to get a lower interest rate, especially if you get a mortgage or a fixed rate that is less than 30 years. You got less than 360 payments, you want to do a 15-year mortgage, they're going to give you a lower interest rate. Somebody said, who's buying a $400,000 car? Well, DLC, I will tell you this, that the high-end car market, they don't have no shortage of buyers. It's the Nissans, it's the Altimas, it's the Explorers, it's the regular cars. It's the things where they try to make it more affordable and sell it at a volume. That's where they have the largest supply of vehicles on the market. Listen, if you go to the Porsche dealership and you go and look for a Macan, the volume producer, the one that you see all of the Asian women driving, you get a Macan, right, which is the smaller SUV. You can get a whole bunch of those. Go and order, try to get you a 911 GT3. Listen, not only is it hard to get one, you have to sometimes build a relationship by buying multiple different Macans and all of these other cars and Taycans and stuff before you can even get allocated. On the high end of the market, there is no shortage of buyers. Lamborghini, Ferrari, all of the high-end car makers, they are having record year after record year after record year, and it don't matter what the economy is doing. They are selling as many as that they can get their hands on. It's the middle of the market that's having the problems. High-end, no problems, because there is no middle class. It is becoming a hollowed-out middle class, and it is becoming a place of haves and have-nots. Go and do your research. Go and do your research. You're going to be paying a significant markup just to get allocated for a car. And you got to have a relationship. Go inside of a Rolex authorized dealer. They don't have no inventory unless you've already built a relationship and you can show that you've bought multiple different watches. Listen, the high end of the market, there ain't no shortage of people over in Monaco. Ain't no shortage of people over there getting to the money. The rich is getting richer than ever before. For whatever reason, y'all keep saying, oh, the market is tanking. For you, if you understand the money, if you understand the game, ain't nobody suffering at the top. The top don't suffer. Listen, the top don't lose. The thing that you got to figure out is, how do you get into the end club and what information do you need in order to be able to leverage and make money just like them? We suffer for a lack of knowledge. We suffer for a lack of understanding. We suffer for a lack of wisdom. The top don't lose. We make money going down. We make money going up. We going to make money no matter what. If the market start to tank, we look at it and we salivate and we say, you know what? It's a buying opportunity. We don't look at the market going down and saying, oh my God, I can't believe this. We look at it and say, ooh, buddy. People start losing their homes. You know who's going to buy them? Nobody care about, listen, I don't care what the interest rates are. I don't care what the market is doing. None of it matters. The only thing that matters is if I can capitalize off of it or not. Nobody, everything at the top, 911 GT3s, Vanquishes, Rolls-Royce Cullinans, $400,000 truck, ain't no shortage of people that's buying them. Zero. It is always going to be sold out. Lamborghini created a special application. They got a special app on the phone just for the people that got allocations. Never a shortage of people. Never. They got places that you can't get into that especially designated for financing for people that purchase high-end cars. I promise you. You think it's ever going to be a crisis? That's an opportunity. Opportunity to create new businesses, opportunity to snap up more land. What you think, they making more land? They ain't making no more land. They ain't making no more of it, big dog.
And so people basically can't figure out how to buy a home or keep up with what is ultimately the real inflation that they're experiencing. And so the reason why I say it's a national emergency is because the federal government really has to step in here.
Somebody said, as a CPA, I just can't justify that much for a car. They say the same thing about watches. You can't, but guess what? We can, because there's ways that you can actually justify it. Number one, most of the time, I'll tell you, my 911 is valued more than what I bought it for. It's literally valued at more than what I bought it for. And I can drive it and have fun with it. And I need to get rid of the money. Every watch that I've purchased is worth more than what I bought it for. And I get to enjoy it. And I got to get rid of the money.
here. And if you go and you look at the housing problem, we can't build houses in America, not because of the federal government. It's because we're being held hostage by local city councils that are basically, parading around or masquerading around as politicians. But at the end of the day, what do they know about housing zoning? What do they know about housing rules?
What do you mean when you say you want the government to get into it?
I think that the federal government
made a mess of it.
I think that the federal government should step in and say that we are going to create either some sort of sandbox, some sort of safe zone, or we are going to actually put some sort of guidance out for these city councils. Because what ends up happening is if you want home prices to stop going up so fast, build more housing.
I feel
but
you,
what you can't
Anwar.
do is you can't have people who they are not experienced, and frankly, they have a lot of times very big conflicts, right? If you go to the local city council, who sits on the city council? Usually people who are real estate developers or are sitting there, they own real estate in the jurisdiction. There's tons of conflicts of interest. And so if you want the housing
In New
rules
York,
to
they're
actually
just
change,
crooks.
if you want those housing rules to change, what you have to do is you have to create some sort of guidance. And so the local rules that are in place right now are not taking into account the fact that there is
If you can get yourself a Ford GT, it's one of the most coveted cars on the market, especially the newer ones. If you can get yourself a Ford GT, that is one of the cars that I'm going to hunt down. I will find one. I think Ford GTs, sometimes depending on the condition and the mileage, they can go for millions. 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 You know how many people jumped on a waiting list to get that thing?
Emergency in terms of housing prices. And so let's have some sort of framework that we can go and actually implement and allow people to build houses in America so that these house prices stop going up.
It's not an emergency to keep home prices propped up, though. I mean, if you want to make housing affordable, it means that prices need to come down. And nobody will admit that the inflated value of the home that you bought, wherever it may be, because literally
prices of homes are not going to come down. Let me just tell you guys that. The only way that you can have prices of homes come down is if you somehow, some way, artificially create a market and crash it all the way to the fucking ground. And the housing market is not going to crash, ever. It's not going to crash as long as you got the guardrails in place, as long as people are willing to pay for their houses, as long as people need a place to stay, and as long as you got institutional investors. The housing market is just going to be another buying opportunity. But the value of homes, I don't believe within the next 20 to 30 years are ever going to come down. They may stagnate. They may not appreciate as fast sometimes, but the value of these homes are not going to come down. People are just going to have to move. They're going to have to move. That's just a fact.
every home on a coast is, despite the wildly out of control insurance costs, is overvalued. And so you can't tell the American people, well, you know, when you go to sell your house, you might not be able to get a premium for it. Sorry. But there's no emergency there. It's just that
high prices
Facts,
and mortgage
Mark
rates,
Pyers.
and you
You
put
are
those all
100%
together,
right on
and
that,
we've
bro.
got a disaster. I think President Trump wants to work on it, but I also want to talk about on the mortgage side how we got here, because over the course of the last 4 years under Joe Biden, the interest rate when he was inaugurated on the 30-year fix was 2.77%. It rose to 6.77% by July 18th of 24. It went back down in September of 24 to 6.08, but we've been bouncing around in these high ranges, making that prohibitive too for quite some time.
Ladies, go and get with a man that is a part of the military that moved in certain places to where they don't have to pay property taxes. Women are looking for the wrong type of guys. Women are out here chasing scammers. They trying to chase a guy that got a high net worth, a rich man, and all of this stuff. Go and get you a man that ain't got to pay no property taxes. And leverage him. Leverage the marriage as a business. Learn to love him. Fall in love. Get with you a man that was in the military or something, and he moved to a place where he ain't got to pay property taxes. He can get that VA loan. Y'all can go ahead and start building wealth based off of that, and then you can run up a bag. Am I giving y'all too much sauce? Am I giving y'all too much sauce? Veterans should be in demand right now. Every woman in the world should be trying to get with a man that just came out of the military, the Navy, the Air Force, or something like that. Ferry, you considered it? You considered it? I'm telling you. Listen, it's all kind of life hacks. You know what life is? Life is just a life hack. Life is a life hack. I'm telling you. Life is a life hack. The minute that you start to figure out that you can hack it to your own benefit is when you break the mold That's when you break the mold. You ain't got to pay property taxes, Nikki. You ain't got to pay property taxes. If I ever hit the market and I'm single, I'm getting with me a veteran woman. Yeah. Don't care how old she is. Don't care what she look like. You come out of the military, I'm going to find a home and a place where we ain't got to pay no property taxes and we going to be living good. That would be the first thing on my list if I'm a person that's just a regular everyday person and I'm trying to make sure that I can leverage as much as I can from a business relationship. I'm going to go and get me a woman that came straight out of the military. What's up, baby? Oh, you a military chick? I know you was for the streets. I know that they was busting it down for a real one in the military. I know how y'all get down. Guess what? I don't even care about your body count. Ain't even tripping off of it. I know y'all was getting it down in them barracks. Listen, but you reformed though, right? Don't worry about it. I got you. You was in the military? Word? No. Yeah. What pay grade are you? I feel you. What state we in? Okay. Listen, you ready to go out to eat? You don't want to know more about? No, girl, I ain't thinking about that. I think the past should be the past. Get you a chick that was from the military. That way I ain't got to pay no property taxes. You ain't got no leg? Nah, don't worry about that. Don't even worry about that. Just because you ain't got no leg don't mean nothing. I know somebody that is an expert in prosthetics anyway. I do. I got a buddy that is an expert in prosthetics. He owns a prosthetic company here in Michigan. He does really well. I actually met him. I met him on my rooftop at a special event. I know a guy that runs a prosthetic company and he does really, really well. And so me and his wife and him and Rita, we was all talking and stuff like that. And I said, what do you do? And he said, oh, we live downtown. We moved here from West Bloomfield, whatever. And I own a prosthetic company. I said, okay, cool. I got a guy that own a prosthetic company. Facts. That's a fact. Matter of fact, I think Rita still got that information. Let me see something. Y'all think I be lying. I be telling the truth. I'll get you some legs. Even if you miss them both, I got you.
Hello.
Hey, I'm on the live. Do you remember that couple that we met on the rooftop where the guy owned a prosthetic company? And they said they had moved to the city?
Yes, I do.
Are you busy?
No,
Okay.
never too busy for you.
Do you still got their number? Because remember that.
I think so. I can check.
I forgot all about him until I started talking about talking to women that ain't got no legs on the live stream.
Oh my gosh, what?
No, it's for a reason. Don't worry about it. Find the information and get it for me. Tell Julio over there to calm down.
I know he's being real bossy about this parking lot. Like I know what I'm doing. Yeah, I'll check my phone. I'm parking right now, so as soon as I get out the car, I will check my phone because I think I had put it. I don't know if I stored it in my phone or if he just gave me a card.
I don't know. We'll figure it out. We're gonna get.
His place is down here though, so
I know his place is downtown.
be able to find it.
We can get we getting people legs this summer. All right, I'm gonna talk to you later.
All right, hold on. Can you mute real quick because I had called you earlier to tell you something and you ain't answer me.
Not a car accident for the baby. Oh. All right, we'll talk about that later. I hate when people get into accidents. I don't like it when people get into accidents. Anyways, yeah, man, I got a guy. Listen, ladies, if y'all missing any limbs, arms, legs, but you a veteran, hit me up. Email me at Anton Daniels 413@gmail.com. If you're having trouble dating, I can fix that. I got you, and I can get you some legs at a really, really, really great price. And they innovative, like they super innovative and all of that. Rita had lost her connection. She was telling me about somebody that got into a car accident. But yeah, let me know, y'all, because we can fix that. And I know you a whole woman. You just missing a couple limbs, but I got you, baby. Anyways, make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top. I don't discriminate. I think that everybody should have an opportunity at love. Let me read some of these super chats. I got you. I'm getting legs for chicks and everything. Gavin Newsom looks like like Terry Silver, a snake. Shout out to Ryan Powell. Michael Mitchell Jr. says, AD, did you hear about the black school shooter in Dallas? Somebody mentioned that, and I told them to send it to me, and I don't think they sent it to me. Mr. Youngblood City says, Ninja still signing up for Arms for Homes. Y'all don't remember 2008? It's bad out here, bro. Jamal Bradley says, the thing they never say, everyone deserves shelter, but not everyone deserves to be a homeowner. I like that, Jamal. That's deep. April, what up? April. What up, April? What's up, April? Hey, Anton. I need to get a coaching call. Well, April, I know you got all of your legs, so I don't know. I'm up. April, hit me up. Hit me up, April. You know how to get in touch with me. Chris Carter or Cunningham says, just pay the 7% and refi the rate later. Well, they can't afford the 7%, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm about to share that with you. Saquon says, my mother bought her first house right before the 2008 real estate crash. Now, after years of hard work, she's a millionaire through real estate. Oh, that means she didn't sell. She wasn't tripping about the crash. I'm going to buy them. Shout out to my girl, Night J. Yeah, we taking advantage. Realist Talk, I appreciate you, says most people don't know what they should be putting down a minimum of 20% on luxury items such as cars and homes. Agreed. Check my text, Quentin. Let me see what's going on. What I got going on here? Woo! Oh my God. That is beautiful, bro. So, that's my dream. That is my dream, Quentin. Courtney Eggers Show says, my VA benefits pay for my house. Just talk to them. But they don't want no hardworking man. They want a scammer out here in these streets. Millionaire Morning Games, shout out to you. I appreciate you, Profess. Saquon says, I inherited a house from my grandmother, all paid off. I'm at 100% VA disability and P&T. I don't have to pay taxes on my house, car, or land. Jesus. Why y'all not getting with the military guys? David Yeti says, when you were on the come up, how did you strengthen your belief that you were right when everyone said that you were wrong? Because I know that when the majority of people give you advice, let's say everybody is on this side over here. You know how, for example, everybody was saying, yeah, man, like a lot of people was going to that, what was my man's name that was getting in trouble last year? Caesar, right? And they was going to his courses. Or I seen a whole bunch of people go and visit Diddy and watch him speak. Or I see a whole bunch of people saying these terms like, yeah, man, generational wealth. I know that they don't get it. When I seen a whole bunch of people saying, hey, man, get into the trucking industry, or hey, man, get into this, hey, man, get into that, and everybody was doing, whenever I see a whole bunch of group of people, I start to get skeptical, and I'm trying to understand what everybody else is doing. The thing that's important is once you get the knowledge, once you get the information, and you get a little bit of success, you know that it works. And so it doesn't matter what everybody else says. Why would I take advice from a bunch of broke people? If nobody has been there, but everybody is talking about and looking at it as a theory, why would I? Here, let's just talk about this for a second. Let's talk about this for a second. Some of y'all are so scared to step out and step into your greatness. Some people are so scared. You got the information. I've been beating it into your head for years. I've been giving you the game. You got everything that you need, but you still stuck in the same place, running in the same race and not getting no progress. You know one thing that you are getting? Older. Every year, you get a little bit older and your knees hurt a little bit more and your back don't work quite the same that it do when you get a few more gray hairs and your hairline get back just a little bit more and you get a little bit broker and you get a little bit more spiteful towards the opposite sex because you can't find a person that you say is supposed to be your wife or your husband, and you get a little bit more jaded and you get a little bit more aggravated and you get a little bit more upset, but you also get a little bit more knowledge, a little bit more wisdom, a little bit more understanding. And so you have to figure out which path you're going to go. You cannot be gray area when it comes to life. You either got to go all the way there or you got to go all the way that way. Either you're going to go all the way broke or you're going to be all the way rich. And often at times, people that go all the way rich wind up getting broke on the way, but they also get rich in the process, and they learn what not to do, and they fail upwards. It's some people that fail, and it's other people that fail upwards. You got all of the information in the world. We living in the technology age. We got AI. We got Anton Daniels, AIAD, Anton Daniels. You got every piece and bit of information that you could possibly use, and you're still sitting there wasting time because you ain't doing nothing. And then they'll make the excuse. This is the biggest excuse that I see from people. Well, I tried to do that, or I tried to start a channel, or I tried to create a business, or I went into 2 different interviews and you got told no, or you failed in your thing, or you wasn't consistent. But you see, you not just keep going. The minute that somebody criticizes you, the minute that somebody says, you know what, I knew you was going to fail, or see, they business ain't great, or this and that, and so on and so forth. You know what my superpower is? My superpower is that I truly don't give a fuck. I don't care. I am the dude that is going to walk in the middle of the pack, in the middle of everything, and be vlogging like, yeah, man, because listen, bro, this and that. It's a special place for people that just truly don't give a fuck. You know why? Because often at times we wind up becoming the most successful. We the ones that don't care. We going to go into the mire. We going to go into sales jobs. We willing to take risks. We are always going to win. And there's nothing that nobody else can do about it. And it's everybody else that's going to be sitting watching on the sidelines and saying, you wouldn't believe how many people be looking at me, and I can hear them sometimes. Sometimes they let their intrusive thoughts say things out loud, but they think that they said it low, but I can still hear them because they ain't got their whisper voice on. And so he looks so stupid. Why would he be walking down the street with a camera? I hear it all day long. I hear it all day long. It's not my job to show them that I make hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. My job is to do the thing that I know is going to make me successful, and I've become so good at not giving a fuck about what everybody else think that when I know that I'm getting richer the minute that I hear somebody actually say something negative about it. That's why I laugh at black people when all of them are Democrats, and it's like, nobody was thinking to themselves, hey, wait a minute. So for the last 1 million years, we've been doing the same thing over. Y'all still protesting? Y'all still doing this? Y'all still doing that? The minute, look, dog, I'm telling you, I see stuff before it happened, and it's largely based off of looking at the habits and the migration patterns of the people that surround me. When I seen everybody move to Atlanta, I said, oh, Atlanta is dead. Everybody moved to Houston. Oh, ain't no opportunities out there. Let's figure this out. I'm looking at Memphis, St. Louis, Detroit, Milwaukee. That's where the money is. Dog, there are places, and I'm not going to talk about it because I'm talking about it in the next block club. I didn't do it last night because it's still my birthday weekend. People wanting to celebrate the time, dog. But there are places that will pay you to own the places, but at the same time, you're developing the properties for people within the community, and this money's just allocated for you to take advantage of it, but you just don't apply yourself. You're not inquisitive enough. You don't want to build with your community. You don't want to tap into people with the city council members. They are giving away money for you to do some of these projects, and you already have the knowledge, the wherewithal, the know-how, and you got the network to tap into, but you will not tap into it because we so stuck on stupid, and we rather spend all of our time on things that don't matter instead of spending it on making money. Money begets money. Well, man, I was seeing people, and I just, oh man, real estate market. Oh, stocks is down. Hey, y'all, we gotta buy. We gotta spend as much money. Dog, forget all of that. Hey, let's spend all of our money. 2008, 9, 10, 11. Bro, I was never gonna move if I didn't have to move. The only reason that I started spending money on my own housing, and I was just gonna keep buying as much real estate as I possibly can, is because my father died, and he was the maintenance guy at the facility that I was staying at the townhome that I was staying at for the whole complex, and so we was staying for free. All of my money was going to continue to be going into this stuff because I'm like, man, Skip, this is free money. They living in that big house over there, and they struggling. They house poor, and they not having a better experience than me. It just made sense. It made sense in my mind. Dog, they living in that big-ass house. They got all of that maintenance over there. Come on, man, let's get candid right now. They living in that house over there. They spending all of that money on maintenance. They house poor. They can't even go out to eat tomorrow because they got to save every penny to make that house payment every day. They not even happy over there. And I'm living for free over here. I got people on the internet talking to me, telling me, man, you so stupid. Man, look, he ain't got no money. Man, I don't give a fuck about what these people are saying. Oh, man, I can't believe Anton is going. Remember that, y'all? Anton is going to get a regular job again. He going back to work. He must have went broke. Man, I was in there doing that job. I was happy to do it. They gave me a benefit package. They gave me a bonus. They gave me a retention bonus. They gave me performance bonuses. They gave me equity into the company. I'm working this job. Our pride from people. Man, these are faceless people on the internet most of the time. I don't care nothing about them. I care about what's best for my daughter. I care about what's best for my family. I care about taking this trip. I want to go buy this house. I want to go buy this car. I want another piece of real estate. I want these benefits. I want all of this stuff. If it fits into the plan that's going to continue to get you to the space that you want to be at, that is when you execute. We spend too much time focusing on trying to prove something to people that don't care nothing about us. I don't care about what nobody think. Nobody think. When everybody go left, I'm going to go right. Because I'm trying to figure out what's over here on the right that everybody missed. Oh, so they the sheep. They the herd. Wait a minute. So it's cheap property down over here? They trying to prove themselves to people by buying stuff that don't even mean nothing? If everybody moving over there, what? That don't make sense. Like my mind just started working like, and then I'll be studying the whole time and I'm trying to understand, okay, so this guy's did it. This is how Warren Buffett got rich. This is how this person did it. This is how this person did it. This is how this person did it. I was talking to me and my guy, Aristotle Investments. Some of y'all may know who he is, Aristotle Investments. I'm supposed to fly to Atlanta because we was kicking it. I had sent him a message like over a year ago. And he was watching some of my content. He DM'd me and he was like, yo, Ty, I want to link up. And then as he was DMing me, he was like, wait a minute, you had already sent me a message. I said, yeah. He was like, dog, we need to connect. He said, Ty, I want to pay you for this. I said, I don't want no money. I want this from you. He was like, yeah, I want this from you. I said, all right, bet. Let's focus on a relationship. Let's just cancel that. Let's link up together and let's get this money. Man, I don't care about what nobody talking about. I want the information. What do you know? What do you know that I don't know? So that I could take it and give it back to my bag chasers. What do you know? I need to study you. I need to study everything you know. What is it that you're doing? Okay, how did you do that? You did this? I don't understand it. Say it to me again. I said to you again, I don't understand it. Explain it to me one more time. Talk to me like I'm a little, I say that all the time. Talk to me like I'm a baby. Talk to me like I'm a 2-year-old. Break it down to me like a 2-year-old. I will make people sit there and tell me over and over and over and over again until I get it. I don't have no pride when it comes to doing the thing that's in my best interest. Yep, honey drip. That's it. I don't have no pride when it comes to, I am a student. When it's other people around to be able, I don't care if they not as rich as me, if they richer than me, I don't care. If it's something that they got that I need, I'm a student. I'm not debating with you. I'm not trying to argue with you. Well, I ain't trying to prove nothing. I'm trying to get richer. What am I trying to prove? The proof is in when I go and get that new GT3. The proof is when I get my delivery of my Temerario, when they start shipping them out. I'm not trying to prove nothing. I'm trying to get richer. And we so busy trying to prove something to people. And I was young at one time. I had that young mentality. I need to see it. I want to know. I got to know. I'm going to go to the community meetings. I'm going to go to this. I'm going to go to that. I want to know everything that you're doing. I want to know your online strategy. How you doing this? I was sitting with somebody, and I ain't even said this yet. I was sitting with my homegirl, Super. Me and 2K, we was sitting around Super Cent, and she was like, we was talking, and everybody was crowded around me, and I was like, yeah, man, because this and that, and this is how we do this, and this is how we should play this from a content creation perspective. And Super said, Anton, it's a whole bunch of money right here. A lot of people ain't looking at this. Everybody ignored this. This is where the money at. I said, 2K said, you know how 2K talk. 2K says, man, get the f out of here. And so 2K started laughing because he like, man, that's impossible. I said, how much money is over there? She said, listen, Tom, it's a lot. I said, show me. Man, she pulled out that phone. She showed me that. I was like, my ears perked up. Me and 2K got quiet. I started looking at him. He started looking at me. I started looking at him. He started looking. I'm like, I was like, tell me more. Show me. Show me what you do. She's like, oh, it's just you just do this, you do that, you do this, you do that, you do that. I explained it to me again to make sure I got it. Say it again to make sure I got it. Man, I don't give a fuck about what nobody talking about. Okay, so we about to go out on the stage and we going to talk about dick and pussy. But when we leave this stage, I need you to teach me everything you know about this thing that you just told me about. Because I'm leaving money on the table. I want everything. She is sweet. Super Cent is dope. I need to know. My friends we share information and we all get money together. We trying to get richer. We get on this internet and we gonna talk about all of the stuff, and you think that I'm mad about the fact that you said this and that. I mean, I don't give a fuck. I'm trying to get this money, bro. I ain't telling about. I ain't gonna tell it out loud. I will put it on the Patreon. 2K was cracking me up. 2K, let me tell you one thing about 2K. 2K is a sponge. That dude be soaking. He like, oh, wait, what? Where's the knowledge? What's going on? 2K came to Detroit and came to my studio without me to go and see how I was recording everything and doing all of this. He was sending me pictures in my phone of my studio saying, Ton, you doing this? Man. 2K was in my studio and I wasn't even here. Got to get that money, man. Got to get that money. I'm going to save the last thing that I got to talk about for you guys. I'll save that for tomorrow. So, yeah, man, it's too much money. It's too much money, bro. Everybody getting in their emotions. Everybody talking about this. Everybody talking about that. And they'll give you the alley-oop. They'll help you. People that get money, that want to be around other people that's nice to them, they help other people get money, bro. Every time. Every time. And y'all got people around y'all every single day that y'all not even taking advantage of. It's people around you. It's people that's in your phone. Y'all got y'all phone filled with contacts, and you only talk to 4 people. You talk to 4 people. Every day you talk to the same people. You got 1,000, 1,500 contacts in your phone. You talk to 4 people. One thing I used to tell people every single day to do, everybody that was mentoring with me, it was a requirement. You had to pick 3 people every single day and call them. Not text them, not send them a message, not say nothing. Call them. Talk to 3 people a day for 15 minutes per person. It take you Actually, not even 15 minutes per person. You can do 5 minutes per person. 15 minutes is too long. 15 minutes is when you start to get more advanced. 5 minutes per person. Hey, just call them. Talk to them. Hey, fam, what's going on? Big dog. Oh, dog, I was just checking on you. How's the family? Word? Okay. No. Everything is great over here, man. I just wanted to check on you because I love you. I appreciate you. Let me know if you need anything, man. I just wanted to see how everything was. Don't ask him for nothing. Don't 5 minutes per person. Just stay in contact. That way, when a new opportunity comes forth, you're the first person that they think about because out of sight, out of mind. But if you're not leveraging everybody that's in your phone, we got these devices that's more powerful than some of y'all laptop computers, but you don't even use them. I use Apple Intelligence for everything that I do. I use AI for everything that I do. Every day, every morning on your way, it take you 15 minutes, 5 minutes per person. Call 3 new people every day and put them in rotation. Put them in rotation. 3 people. It don't matter if it's family members. It don't matter if it's people that you just met with. The reason why I'm so well connected with the people is because I actually stay in touch with the people that I interact with. And so once you get up to a certain amount, you might talk to them once every 2 months, but you talking to them. And the minute that something happened, you know what they do? They call me. Hey, Anton, I thought about you when this was happening. This and that, so on and so forth. Anyways, I'm not giving y'all no more information. Y'all just going to have to go ahead and get it out the mud. Y'all got to get it out the mud. $15 minutes a day. You can do it on your way to work. 5 minutes per person, 3 people a day. Bam, bam, bam. Knock it out. It's easy. But you're so lazy. I don't feel like it. I don't want to. Anyways, enough for today. Got to get to work. Got to get to my candlelight concert. So I got work to do because we don't miss. Yeah, man, it's too much money to get out here for y'all to be sitting down. Anyways, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Let me read some of these super chats, and then I'm going to see y'all tonight on After Hours. David Yeti says, when you were on the come up, oh, yeah, I just read that one. You see, you put me on this path. Now you got me talking. Casual Germ says, military will pay for BBLs and breast implants, not BBC implants. Why do you need a BBC implant? Jesus Christ. Our tax dollars. He said our tax dollars is a joke for that. C. Langley says, I'm 100% permanent and total Army veteran. My husband isn't letting me. Oh, I thought you was about to say that you ain't got no husband. I was about to, okay, baby. All right. But shout out to you, C. Langley. I love that. My girl. JJ says, no legs. We still standing on business. Facts. I got a guy. Moses King says, 80, you got to pop out this summer at the Rick Ross Car Show, big dog. It's only right. Nah, because you got to pay to get your car in there, and I ain't trying to pay nobody to ship my car just to show it at a car show. If I'm not going to figure out how to make some money from it, it don't make no sense. There's an active shooter at Florida State University, just saw an X. All right, we'll talk about that tomorrow then. Jax locked in says, Anton, can you get a woman with no legs pregnant? Absolutely. Absolutely. I 100%. I think that you can pass those benefits down too. Dre with the case says prosthetics won't be the only legs given on this I Choose You. Payne says, I'm 31. I make $55,000 a year as a pharma tech. Feeling a little lost. Would you recommend learning GovTech or cybersecurity? Cybersecurity all day. AI machine learning. Denise says, I requested for when I pass to be buried in my yard. Looked into it and my house would be tax-free for my daughters. Trump did it. It's possible. Oh, I didn't know that, Denise. Thank you for the information. Mr. Joe says, the people who tried to discourage me from living with roommates are house poor. I'm stacking and don't plan on buying a house until I get married. Talk to them. I think that's beautiful. Do you. Jeweled Alchemy Soap Company says, Anton, giving real game. We've been out here grinding, and Michael's craft store noticed us and invited us to do an in-store pop-up this Saturday. Y'all better pay attention. Bag Chasers is forever. Shout out to the Chasers. Justin Credible says, do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? And my dog Quentin says, second PTO request, first request failed. Not during the tour I'm taking. Quentin is the headliner, y'all. Quentin is the headliner. All right. Listen, we love you. We appreciate you. I'm about to call Quentin right after this show so I can find out why I need to deny his PTO. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Plan on seeing y'all on After Hours tonight. All right. Peace.